Nice knee strike again. Oristaglio pressing him into the queso. Nice inside knee. Nice pressure. Another nice knee to the body.
Vinny's having a lot of success with his knees so far.
He's hit him in quite a few times with the knees.
Yeah, so the body and to the legs.
Corner's calling for a right knee. Nice knee again to the thigh. That was a clean knee. Oh, jumping guard.
Jumping guard.
Shakes Massachi off. Oh, very heavy punch.
He's making him pay for that. They're going to call this.
Oristaglio throwing some heavy punches. Looking for a ground and pound. Look for him to pass the guard.
Wow. That was explosive.
He's got to get his arm out of the position.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Monsoon Live right here on YouTube. I'm your host, Jeffrey Monsoon Mysick. And yes, we are in studio, in the arena, as we call it around here, with arguably a very local guy, because he's my neighbor, right across the street, with an amateur background record of 5-1. This is Vinny Oristaglio. Welcome, Vinny.
How you doing?
I thought I'd mess up the name, but
Sorry.
give you a good quick update on this guy when his fight is coming up on February 24th in Warminster at the Fudge. He is going for the Xtreme Cage Combat Amateur Lightweight title. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Now, first off, I got to ask, what sacrifices did you have to make to get into MMA? I know we have folks saying, oh, boxing's easy, you know, they just go to the gym, but you've probably had to do some sacrifices with everything.
Sacrifice-wise, I mean, it's time is the biggest thing. You know, I mean, you got to put the time in. You know, as I mentioned before, you can't be half-hearted in this sport. You know, you got to put everything into it. You know, I work about an hour away, so I travel an hour every day to work, an hour back, and then sometimes I'm home like really late. You know, I have to go to the gym and get that workout in. You know, so I'm sacrificing time. You know, sometimes you can't go out. You know, you gotta miss those times with your friends, and yeah, that's just the biggest thing is time, really.
What about the gyms? I know there's folks out there, they've probably gone out to MMA gyms and they saw how costly it is. How about you as an amateur fighter? How does that play into your training?
Well, cost-wise, I mean, I'm blessed to have, you know, a good job that covers those costs, you know. But in my eyes, in my opinion, I'll pay whatever it takes to get my training in, man, because like I love this. I love competing, and it's something I will do for a long time. So you know, no matter the cost, I'll find a way to train. You know.
All right. Well, what got you into MMA?
Well, I grew up wrestling. It's like second grade, and it was one day after a high school wrestling tournament. We all went to Hooters, the whole team, and there was fights on, and everyone else is just, you know, talking, having fun, doing their thing, and I'm just focused on these fights. I'm like, wow, this is awesome, this is so cool. So, and I just kind of for the next few years just watched, and I became a fan. I was a fan first, and then I graduated high school. I started talking to my mom, and she's like, you know, my mom of all people, she's like, why don't you go for it? I said, yo, you want me to get I mean, you don't mind me getting punched in the face? She said, go for it, you know. And I was like, so then you know, they're my biggest supporters, and that's how I got into it. You know, my parents, you know, they really encouraged me.
How is your training different now that you're preparing for a title match compared to a normal fight?
I can't really say that it is, honestly. I always just train to better myself. I'm not so much worried about what my opponent is good at. It's if I can implement my game plan and I do what I do well, then he shouldn't be able to stop me.
Okay. We had somebody ask this question when we had Sam on. What's the difference between pro MMA and amateur MMA?
Well, there used to be a huge difference. There used to be amateur and pro. In amateur, you know, it was standing, you know, everything except for elbows and kicks to the head, and you had to wear shin pads. And you couldn't strike on the ground either, to the face anyway. And pro, obviously, it's damn near everything, with the exception of, you know, like biting and all that type of stuff. But now they added advanced amateur, which is a step closer to pro, which is what my last fight was and which the next one will be, where you take off the shin guards and now you can strike on the face on the ground. So, I mean, because I think people were going from amateur to pro and they weren't really used to getting hit on the ground, and there's like a whole new ball game, so they had to kind of do something to you know, ease people into it. I mean, at the amateur level, you will get a lot of, you know, takedown, lay and pray type stuff. But I mean, now that they've developed the advanced amateur, where you can actually strike on the face on the ground, you know, not too many people want to be there anymore. Not too many people want to take it to the ground because, you know, getting punched standing is one thing, but when you're on the mat and someone lays one into you, your head doesn't have anywhere to go, you know, and the impact's a lot harder, so, you know, people tend to stay away from the ground.
Okay. Now, I know you recently graduated from high school. How does your high school wrestling background play into your MMA career?
It's huge. You know, people often say wrestlers make the best fighters, and in a way that's true, because you can teach a wrestler to box, I feel like, pretty quickly, but to wrestle, you know, it takes years and years and years to just get good at it. But I think where it helps me the most is my transitions in jiu-jitsu. You know, like, I just read the pressure, and, you know, it's easy for me to transition because of my wrestling. Like, you know, when MMA, I think, first kind of came about, you could be good at one and get away with that, but now you got people growing up doing MMA, and you have to be, like, if you want to keep up with the sport, if you want to make it somewhere, you have to be well-rounded. You know, I came up wrestling since like 2nd grade, and that's gotten me pretty far to this point, but I've had to, you know, like, adapt, because my last opponent, I knew he was good at jiu-jitsu. He had 3 submission wins. Why am I going to go to the ground with him? You know, so I was smart. I said, let's keep it standing. And I've worked and worked and worked on my striking, and, you know, it's not like, you know, UFC level type shit, but I mean, it's come a long way.
Okay. So now, we had Sam on Pizza a while back, and he had showed us what to look for in an MMA fight. Now, I was wondering if we could show the folks at home, with what you said about your wrestling background, how it would play out against a boxer. Because, you know, I do have a little bit of boxing background. Maybe we could do a little bit of light sparring, and we'll show folks what would happen when an MMA fighter who has the wrestling background goes against a boxer who has no wrestling background.
Okay.
We'll do that next. Well, pretty much, since we've talked about this, about the boxer going against the MMA, we're going to see what happens when a boxer goes against a guy with wrestling background. Now, if this was our normal, you know, sparring session, we'd actually have the headgear on, all that. So we're not going to do punches in the face, so don't worry, because I know there's somebody probably worried about their mother. She watches. But we'll do that. We'll just see what happens, give you guys a demonstration. And if there's something, like if you do a cool hold, tell us how you did it. But this should be one for the books. Here we go.
Hey, if you bake and bleed, there's a 20 in it for you.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Thanks, camera guy.
Are you ready?
Go. We're going go. Yep.
Monsoon, fight out of it. Move your legs. Move your body. Turn. One more round.
Yeah, one more.
Now, let's see those hits count a little bit better. I want to hear some grunting. Turn, Monsoon. Turn. Turn your body. Toward him. Yep. Fight, Monsoon. Get on your hands and knees. Turtle. Keep your arms tight. Don't give him the arm. Turn toward him. Turn toward him.
You got it? Yep. Winner as always. Vinny, thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
On the 24th, he'll be in action in Warminster. And again, I almost guarantee now, there will be a rematch. Maybe we'll do straight up boxing. But as always, guys, have a great week. And you know we'll be covering this fight, and we'll be bringing back the champ next time on Monsoon Live. Later days.
Hey, Monsoon, maybe next time your cameraman will have to get in there to show you
Yeah,
how
maybe.
it's done.